Hey everybody, today I'm talking about Biblios by Steve Finn. Now this is a 2 to 4 player game. It's a small box game, takes about 25 minutes to play, plays 2 to 4 players, and I've heard a lot of good things about this over the years, and it always did kind of pique my interest because it has auction and bidding in it. It also has set collection, and they tend to be things that I do enjoy. So the game is pretty simple in the way it plays, but that doesn't mean that it's not got its decisions that go into it, at least meaningful decisions, because all you do in the game is that it's divided into two very distinct phases. So the first phase is going to be where you kind of skim cards from the top of the deck, and you are either going to choose to keep it for yourself or give it to your opponents or put it into a face down stack, which are going to be used for the second half of the game. And all the different cards are based on different things. You've got 5 different kind of commodities you can use in the game, which are almost your set collection, sets that you're going to get, such as like you've got your skulls, you've got your feathers, you've got your scrolls. And I think they're all supposed to represent different types of books, which is the theme of the game. And whoever has the most type of those goods when it comes to final game or end game scoring, you're going to score points based on the face value of the dice that's showing representing that type of good. Now, so every one of these goods starts as a value of 3, and depending on cards that you accumulate through the game, you can manipulate that dice value to make it worth more or less. And you've also got coins you can collect throughout the game, which let you basically give you auctioning power for the second half of the game. And as I said, you've also got that ways to manipulate the dice. So that's basically how the first half of the game works. You're going to choose what you're going to take for yourself, what you're going to give your opponents, and what you're going to put on that face down pile for auction later. Now that is a really cool decision in itself, and it's a nice kind of push your luck aspect to it, because you draw one card at a time, you have to weigh up, say I draw something that's maybe a 2 skull on it, and I think, oh, you know what, I'm not doing very well on these, and I imagine my opponent is probably doing quite well on them, so I'll give it to my opponent because I'm not going to worry about them anymore. Or maybe you could do it the opposite way, where you think, oh, I'm doing well on these, so I'll take another card for myself in order to increase my chances of winning it. Or maybe you want to get more coins, or so that choice of what you're going to keep for yourself and what you're going to give is very, very interesting. And also you want to bear in mind that the ones you don't want to give to your opponent, but you've already taken one that you want, putting it in that auction pile is very useful knowledge, because you know that when it comes to that second half of the game, that card is in that deck, so that you know that you maybe to keep some of your money back in order to take it for yourself for the end game scoring. So yeah, lots to think about there. And it also kind of flows through very nicely, ticks along very quickly. So when it comes to the second half of the game, that is when all the cards that were discarded onto that auction pile are all shuffled, and then one at a time they are basically bid on using the coins that you've picked up in the first round. So it might be maybe like let's say you've got one of these scroll books that are worth 3. Now another decision there is, how much am I going to bid? How much am I thinking my opponent's going to bid? Because you want to think, you don't have a clue what your opponent's got on his side. Bear that in mind. So you're thinking, am I going to try and take this myself and maybe start competing for this type? Am I winning by such a big margin that I don't mind my opponent having it? Because you don't even know where you stand in comparison to your opponents. So you could only maybe have like 3 of a certain type of card. You think you've got no chance of winning it. You've spent your time kind of bombing the value of that card at the end of the game by manipulating the dice. And at the end of the game, you realize that you were actually winning it all along. And that is, I think, one of the kind of one of the great things about Biblios is that you just do not know where the other players stand, and there's a lot of speculation that goes into it. And I really do enjoy that part of the game, because sometimes, as I said, you think that you're doing really well on something, but then your opponent can just pip you by 1 point at the end, and you've actually spent your whole turn raising the value of that type of good, meaning that they benefited off that, and you've just been completely shafted. And knowing that there's only 5 different ways to score as well, each based on those different sets, every point is absolutely vital in this one. So Yeah, I love the fact that it's such a small and succinct game, but every single decision you make in the game is important. And that is what you want in a game like this. You don't want to feel like you're just going through the motions and just doing things for the sake of it. And Biblios, you certainly are not doing that. It has a lot of bite, there's a lot to think about. But again, being such a simple game, you know, it would be easy to dismiss that. But yeah, this is such a well-designed game. If you like your set collection, this is one really to bear in mind. I love the manipulation of the commodities. I love the fact that you want to, you know, not only take the different set cards, but you want to have that auction power for the second round as well. So there's a good kind of weighing up what you want to do. Yeah, so this is a really nice game. The balance of the game is fantastic. I love the fact that it's never perfect information because you are taking cards out at the beginning of the game based on the player count. So you are not sure on when or the total value of a certain type of good is. You know, I could have, maybe there could only be like 4 of a certain type of card in the game. I've got 2 of them, and I think I've got absolutely no chance of winning it because I think my opponent's got 10, but at the end I've actually won. So yeah, it's a great thing about this game. Simple, clean mechanisms, 25-minute play time, absolutely brilliant. Great uptime, has a nice kind of addictive feel to it in terms of replayability. Player interaction is great because, again, you want to be careful what you're giving to your opponent, what information you're keeping back and stuff like that. Aesthetically, no problems at all. I mean, the theme's a bit weird in itself, being like kind of as almost like a monastery library. I don't really get it, but I quite like it. I'm sure it'll maybe turn a few people off, but personally I don't mind. Component quality is great, nice quality dice there, a nice clean board, nice clean iconography. The dice are only used to basically represent the different values of the goods, but still they're nice and bright and nice and clean, and next to no setup time as well. So yeah, overall, this is a rock solid filler. Definitely stands above the pack of games that take around the same time of this. So I can definitely see why it has received such high acclaim over the years. One that I'd definitely recommend if you like your filler games with a bit of punch to them. Yeah, so a great design by Steve Finn. It gets a very good rating from me. And I definitely recommend you go check this one out. If you like your fillers, you like your auction games, you like your set collection games, and you just want something that's a lot of fun and but still not brain dead fun. That's Biblios by Steve Finn. Go check it out. If you have enjoyed this review, please hit like and subscribe to my channel and check out my other videos too. For everyone else, I'll see you next time on Chairman of the Board. Bye.